Hi, my name is Mike, and I'm a software developer with 20 years of experience. Today, I want to discuss modal windows. When should we use them, and when we absolutely should not use them under any circumstances. And first of all, I want to define what is modal window. Modal window is the interface element which appears inside your application, if we talk about web, inside your browser window. It's not a separate browser window. That's pop-up. And speaking of pop-ups, well, I don't think there is a lot of things we should say about them because they are awful. Never use pop-up. But modal windows are different. They are indeed powerful tools and sometimes too powerful. But let's start with when they actually justify it, when modal window is a great idea. So first of all, showing modal window as a reaction to user clicking on something. And when modal window shows the exact content user expects, that's fine. For example, even if we don't talk about some complicated interface, where it's absolutely necessary sometimes, even like a normal business website, some feedback form. Okay, if you have a form on the page, that's fine. Let's say you don't have a form, you have a button like contact us or request an estimate. Well, user clicks, and instead of redirecting user to a separate page, you can just open modal window, show the form there. That's completely fine. That's expected behavior. Obviously, modal window must be implemented correctly. For example, when you're trying to select something on modal window, it should not by accident allow user to select something on the page. You should make sure the person understands the layers, like visually, right? So it may be like darkened, blurry, have some shadow, whatever. I mean, there are different ways to specify that it's not part of the normal content of the website, but at the same time, obviously, it should give the feel that it's not something completely foreign. And actually, by the way, don't try to imitate system windows. I mean, if you are a scammer, probably that's what you will do, but unless you are a scammer, your modal window should be done within like the same style like the rest of your website. Okay. But that's number one. So user clicks on something, expects to see something and sees it in the modal window. That's fine. Especially, and that's actually important too, when user will not need to see something on the page to do whatever he needs to do with the modal window. Like, let's get back to my example with request an estimate, right? Let's say you have a page and it describes like all kind of services you do. And for example, some materials or some brands you sell or something like that. So user may not decide yet, and if he clicks on the button and the modal window appears, and this window blocks access to the content of the page, well, maybe it's not the best solution. Maybe you should show something inside the page instead of like showing it above the page. Okay, so the next moment when it's acceptable, something super urgent, like really urgent. What I mean, for example, that's the website of a water service company, so water provider, and there is a boil water advisory. Some bacteria found the way into the waterways, and now everybody in the city must boil the water. Okay, that's an extraordinary situation. That's a matter of life and death. So if you are that company which should notify their customers, obviously your website should scream about that issue, because that's an extraordinary thing. Of course, it's not sufficient. Don't expect people normally go to your website, right? Even if they go there monthly to pay their bill, that's not enough, right? So you should use some other ways to notify customers, but whoever opens your website, yes, probably it's a good idea to let them know. At least that's a responsible thing. Another scenario, not urgent, but mandatory. For example, let's say user opens your website, and for some reason, you need user to choose the store, like the specific store. Let's say you have like 5 stores in different places. You want user to choose the store before he proceeds. Again, that might not be optimal by design, but imagining that you have that requirement, obviously in that case, modal windows seem to be acceptable. Again, I would think maybe to do it somehow else. Maybe I would redirect user to some page with stores information, why to show any content at all, right, in that case. So just show the list of stores and then user just selects one and goes. But okay, that's too much of ifs. Okay, that's hypothetical situation, and I kind of figured out when I was discussing it that it's hard to imagine why you may need it, but you still may need it. So in the case when user needs to choose something before you can proceed, absolutely, modal window is acceptable. And actually that kind of applies even to some sort of proceeding next buttons, right? So you have a button proceed, for example, in the online store. So user clicks on the button and you actually need to check something, like verify that user is 21 years old. Let's say you sell alcohol or something. Well, you show this window and say, okay, are you sure? Like you want to proceed, etc. I'm not saying it's the best approach, but at least at some point it can be justified. The next situation when it's acceptable to use modal window, and actually, by the way, I will have to explain why I'm saying acceptable, right? Acceptable by who? Well, wait for it, it will be explained a bit later. But when it's acceptable, when you have a website and let's say you know why user opened your website. Maybe you know it from the campaign ID in the URL or somehow else. So if you know that user has a very specific reason to open your website, if it's advertisement based, you probably should have a landing page, but let's say for whatever reason you don't have it, well, maybe in that case, presenting the content of that special offer, for example, in the modal window would be acceptable and reasonable before user can access the website. So you just replacing the landing page with the modal window. Not optimal again, but not hurtful, let's say that. It's better to the landing page, but at least modal window here will serve its purpose. And that's an important word, I assume. Serve its purpose. What's the purpose? And what I said about acceptance, that's about if the window serves its purposes properly, without hurting you, without annoying the user. So what is modal window from the user experience perspective? It's an element which triggers forced attention. It's something user cannot ignore. So let's say user normally opens your website, whatever you write there, user can easily scroll. He doesn't need to engage with the content to skip it. With modal window, user must to engage with it. Yes, it may be some X, it may be some cancel, or I don't want to see it, or some other button, but he needs to engage it even if he wants to skip it. So for example, boil water advisory, yeah, that's absolutely fine. I don't believe somebody will open the website of their water company, see that and say, oh, why they show it to me. No, I mean, even if user knows, he will understand why it's here. And if user doesn't know, they will be more than happy to read about that. So that's, again, acceptable. Maybe some red warning as a part of a page would be sufficient, or not necessarily even red. I'm not saying it would not, but at least I could justify using modal window here. The next thing, okay, can you use this forced attention for selling something, for pushing the message you want to push? So user opens a website and you immediately show some punchy message. You say, I don't care why you came here, I still have something you need to see. So if you matched what user may want, may be happy about, well, then you may get some benefit. If you mismatched, so user actually doesn't feel anything important about that, okay, even if he remembers your brand, well, he may actually not be very happy about all that. But you may say in that moment, okay, if user is not happy, then probably he's just not my customer. So why should I care? I mean, either way, he would not buy from me. He probably opened the website by mistake. Or like, he did not want to buy the services from me, he just wanted to offer something to me. I mean, completely irrelevant user. Well, that's partially true. And that's where the gamble comes from. So when you force users' attention, then there is something happens in user's head. And it's called psychological reactance. Modal window limits users' freedom. And when the freedom of a person is limited, then psychology starts to work. And psychological reactance is the name for that effect. So user starts to experience irritation, negative thoughts, and desire to resist the message you show him, the message you used to restrict his freedom to scroll your website, to browse your website. He tries to avoid it. And that's a negative thing. That's something what hurt you because, okay, now user is not curious about your product or your services. Now user is disliking you. And if you could not catch him with whatever he saw in the modal window, then probably the chance he will proceed working with you is now lower. And that's what I mean by acceptable. Obviously, no one will bring you to court of law or will challenge you with a duel because they saw a modal window on your website. Yes, of course, we don't talk about that. It's not like you go to some high society event wearing shorts. No, it's not about that. But acceptance here is something what actually important to your business. It's not about even your image or like how people will think about you, but it's how people will feel about you. Yes, I don't think somebody will say, oh, their website has a modal window offering some seasonal discount. And I hated it. I did not need that discount. And so I hate this company now. No, of course not. But their subconscious, it will not be happy that you limited the freedom of browsing your website by pushing the very specific message and preventing user from freely explore your website. When you interrupt user's experience by modal window or by something else, maybe some red banner in your website and like it says, read it before you proceed or something. It doesn't have to be even like a technical thing which like appears on top of the content. It may be something in the content, right? But when user has to spend their time and read it, he will spend some of his attention budget. Yes, of course, there is no like timer in user's head which saying, okay, like 30 seconds, that's how much time I spent on that specific website. Well, of course, I assume psychologists would actually be able to produce some numbers, but again, I think it's something like average, etc. But the point is, yes, attention budget is limited. When someone spent more time than they kind of allocated for your website, they will just close it. They will not keep reading. And even if user came to your website with some very specific intention, maybe look for an open position, or maybe offer you something, or maybe, ask you if you want to receive an award from the Chamber of Commerce. I don't know, something like that. Well, they will see this message, they will spend time reading that message, and they may exhaust their attention budget on that message instead of on what they actually wanted to spend it. So they will not do the thing they planned and how they already wanted to engage with your business. Instead, they will read something what most likely would be not relevant for them. So modal windows are great. It's an amazing way to interrupt user. And sometimes you need to do it. It may be something important, even in real life, right? Imagine someone is doing something wrong. You want to interrupt this person. Or maybe you want to interrupt the person because, okay, you have a limited amount of time and you actually have something else to offer. Okay. But keep in mind that if this interruption was not successful, user may not have enough time or attention to dedicate it to doing what they actually wanted to do and how they wanted to engage with your business. So thanks for watching. Please press the like button and I'll see you in the next videos.